Hey everyone, it's You're So Lazy with the other 55%, because you don't know the half of it. So this is an old question, like there's been some development, so this one's kind of outdated. But from when I first gave you these questions, is there anything at this point that can save your relationship with Tiffany?
No, at this moment, no. Even when you ask me those questions, no,
Mm-hmm.
because I literally reached to a point where I said, finish. It's when I had an argument with her mom, and her mom hates me now even more, and the grandmother is upset with me, and the whole family is upset with me. Just my peace with it, and I said, you know what, no more, because even if me and Tiffany work things out, when I go to America, how am I going to be treated when I'm nobody there and I have no place to go? Can't drive, can't walk nowhere, don't know where I am. Who do I turn to when I'm there?
When she's turned everyone there against you.
Already against me. I mean,
Yeah.
I married her. I didn't marry her and the mother.
Yes.
So why discuss everything with the mom? I didn't marry her and the world. So why mention our troubles to the world? I totally agree with a lot of people saying we mustn't put dirty laundry on social media. How? I agree with that. But who's the start of it every time? Who's the one posting it for the first time every time? It's Tiffany. Yeah, I just retaliate with self-defense, basically, defending my own. But it can get really ugly very fast. That's the thing. And especially if you are fighting her thoughts and the mother's opinion at the same time, it's a bit odd.
Yikes.
So I just made peace with it and said, you know what, it is what it is. I'm gonna file for divorce. There's no saving it.
So have you
The
guys
pity that
filed have you guys filed for divorce?
the guys, you know, she can file for divorce all she wants. She's not even married like that. I mean, I spoke to a blogger the other day and they said the fact that the visa is submitted, the marriage should be recognized in the US. Where I ask now, if the marriage was recognized in the US, why is Stephanie's surname still Franco and why is she listed as single in the US?
She's listed as single?
Yeah, well, she gets when Carly was born, she got what's that stuff called a WIC or something?
Oh, okay.
Where
Wick?
yeah, I don't know if you know. Yeah,
Wick?
WIC.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah,
But
she
I
got
think
that
you
where
you
it's
can be
promoted.
married. You can be married and get Wick.
I think there's certain category that you must fall under. Yes, if you are married, but
It's
when
an
you're not,
economic. Yeah. I think
yeah,
it's
there's a category
sorted by your
that you must.
finance. Yeah. How much you earn. So there's other things though,
And
like
technically, you know, if Tiffany showed how much she earned, and they will see how much she got from the TV show, she wouldn't have gotten with.
so speaking of money, I know a lot of the accusations that I've heard made were about money. I heard her
100%.
say at one point that you'd never paid her a dime. In fact, that she supported you. And you've told me that that's not so. So I wanted to give you a chance to
Hmm.
to address that because I
Yeah,
think
I
a
just
lot of
wanna.
people believed her.
Yeah, the thing is, Tiffany did not support me. No, there was in the beginning of the relationship before the marriage, so before 2018, so only the year of 2017, I'll say. Um, there was a few times that Tiffany sent money because obviously I screwed up. I took stuff to the pawn shop, you know, and she'll help me out like that. But her supporting me in this place, no. This roof, I'm paying. My furniture, I bought. My TV, I bought. Everything I bought. The room for Daniel, I paid for it. She didn't support. You know, when she comes here, she comes and visits. Um, I basically expect her to give something towards the food, for example, which is normal. I mean, if she didn't pay the plane ticket, for example, for that visit, then she didn't have a lot of expense to come. So, in my eyes, that's nothing more than right. And as for what do you call it, support for the kids,
Child support?
maintenance,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, basically. I have Amazon thing going off every month for a pack of diapers for God. Other than what's a pity I'm using the phone, otherwise I could have showed you. She said the same thing to my mom, and I showed my mom the emails of Amazon. Amazon saying that, listen, your order is about to go out, and I showed my mom, look, I bought Daniel a robot, those shoes for Carly, and a packet of diapers. Yes, I don't send that much, but I send something. Something is better than nothing. And I don't know why she says she's supporting me when literally we are supposed to get the same amount for the show. And since the, was it now, what now, or Love Games? One of those, we started by telling the producers that, listen, even though we're supposed to get the same amount, I want them to take an X amount out of my per episode allowance, salary, whatever you want to call it, and give it towards to Tiffany as a form of support,
right,
from me. So those type of things she doesn't mention. Technically, from the last episode, from my side, from the last season, sorry, not episode, from the last season of Happily Ever After, she got more than $6,000 from my side. She doesn't mention that. And when we got the big amount payout when the season finished airing, she asked me to help her to buy a new car. I said, why? What's wrong with your car? My car is falling apart. I said, do you take care of your car? Why don't you take care of your car? Because you give your car to all of your family members to drive the thing broken, sorry, Afrikaans. Drive it broken, and at the end of the day, you are stuck. How does that work? And I don't see the use of buying a new car because there's more important things at hand that we need to pay for. And that turned into such a big argument because she said, that is now me taking care of the kids by helping her to buy a new car. And I said, no, that's not a way of taking care of the kids. Because if the mother took care of a car, then the kids won't need to have a new car, safer car to drive it. I mean, that goes without saying. And maintenance on a car must be done. She doesn't do it. So obviously, it's going to break down and fall apart. It's common sense. I mean, where's your family members now? Where are they now? Why aren't they helping you? No, she doesn't know. So, no, well, you can't expect that from me. If you want support or help from my side, I can go on Amazon, I can buy the Walmart vouchers, and yeah, then you can go buy what you want. But buying a car is not going to happen. That's not right. And then say, yeah, but you can buy yourself these things and those things. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, technically, it's my money, and you have your money. What have you done with your money? You can't tell me. But I must show you what I did with mine. How does that work? It doesn't work like that. I mean, as long as I take care of the kids, I was willing to buy plane tickets in July, late June, early July. Plane tickets. I said, listen, I'll pay the plane tickets. I want to see Carly for a second birthday. Tiffany promised to bring her for a second birthday. Never happened. It was Tiffany's choice not to bring her. But I work for my own money. I'm working now. I pay my own bills. I don't need it. And she knows it. I don't know why she says she's taking care of me. So
And
I have all the proof that I buy the stuff and pay for it. I mean, yes, the kids can't eat diapers, but I mean, I can only do as much because if that's what I keep telling Tiffany. You know what? If you are living in South Africa, I can take care of all of you. I can take care of you. But because of the currency exchange being so high,
right,
a lot of money for me is nothing for it. Well, it's not nothing, but it's like very little for it.
yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, that is, it is insane. I mean, if I must send $2,000, that's 150 rand. If I send 2,000 rand, that's about $150, more or less. And that is crazy because what do you buy with $150? Not that much, right?
Yeah, but yeah, that's something we had talked about because I did some research and I saw that the average salary in South Africa is 23,133 rand per month. So, and that's the thing when you enter a relationship with someone from a different country and the financial situation, the economic situation is so different, you have to take that into consideration. You can't say, well, I'm an American and it costs this much to raise kids in America, so you have to pay it to me, but the person doesn't earn an American salary. So it's impossible. And you've told me, and see, like what, when you hear the average salary is 23,000, a lot of people think, oh, that's what most people make. But if you look at the average salary in America, most people do not make that. The average just means there's a lot of low, a lot of high. Most people make one or the other. There's very few that are in the middle, so it's impossible.
Well, my salary is less than that.
Yeah, because that's how it mostly works. In America, most people's salaries less than the average, and, because you have a lot of people that make a lot of money, you have a lot of people that don't make much money at all. So, but I think when you enter and especially decide to make a family with someone that is from a completely different economic situation, you can't hold that against them because you were aware of that. You knew that. So just like the people I knew in Asia, some of the countries I was in, they're very poor. There's no way that a man there could earn enough money to send home to a woman who wanted to live in America and raise his children. Impossible. It would be an even worse situation than for you, and then other parts of Asia had lots of money, and could have, but, I think that's something like, it's really not fair. And for people who haven't lived abroad, people who've only ever lived in their state or in the United States and, are used to that way of life and have never put themselves out there or educated themselves or traveled, they don't understand. So if they hear, oh, he only gave me $200, it's shocking. It sounds terrible. But
precisely.
But that's because they're ignorant to the fact of what the economic situation is. So I feel like, me having that life experience, having lived in multiple places, seen what it's like, know what it's like, I see that. And I know that that's not really fair. My other issue with that, and it's not just Tiffany, there's been other people on the show who like to talk about how their foreign spouse doesn't contribute income, and they have to earn it all. And it always irks me because I say, without that spouse, you wouldn't be on this TV show. You wouldn't earn a penny from this TV show without your foreign spouse. So whatever money you are earning from the show, you only earned because of your spouse. So you cannot say they're not contributing anything, and then from the show, it's not just what they make on the show, but what they're able to do. Like, if someone who'd never been on TV is trying to sell some pink eyeshadow, for example, they're not going to sell that much. But if they've been on TV and now because of being on TV, they have a big following, people watch them. People are more likely to buy something from them. You can get sponsorships. I see the cast, a lot of the cast, they have developed businesses or they promote things for companies. These are
I mean, do you see
financial,
me doing that?
not that I've seen, but
No,
there's nothing
no,
wrong
because
with it.
South
Yeah,
Africa doesn't. South Africa doesn't do
doesn't
that.
offer that. Yeah,
That's
it's a whole different culture. So
the economy. Yeah,
yeah, these opportunities
yeah.
to make money are only available because you were on the show. And guess what? Your foreign spouse, whether you still love them or not, is 50% of that equation. So you cannot say, no one from the show can say that their spouse is not contributing. Because if they didn't have that
Totally agree.
spouse, they wouldn't be on TV. We wouldn't know who they were, you
I
know.
couldn't have said that better myself.
So
I
yeah,
couldn't.
that's for me. But those two things are always, and not just with Tiffany. Tiffany was not the first person that I heard say that really aggravated me, and not the only one. Like anyone on the show who says that, it just drives me crazy because you're on the show because of that person. So
Exactly.
yeah, so I feel like, I just feel like people need to think about these things, and don't just pick a side and go, oh, he only does this, he only does that. You have to see the whole picture first, and then
Yeah, exactly.
like I said, the person who chose,
I mean, I
like
also have a
me,
life inside.
yeah, yeah.
I
So
also must pay my bills and pay the roof above my head, place to sleep, blah blah blah. Um, it's not that I put my family last with whatever is left. No,
yeah, are
I
you?
give them what I can or as much as possible. So, like I said to Tiffany, they were living in South Africa. I
Mhm,
will be able to take care of them. Plate of food every night, roof over their head, warm shower, whatever.
mhm, mhm.
Um, but I can't afford her lifestyle. I can't. With the currency exchange, it's literally impossible. I'm gonna have to give my whole salary to be able to match something that you can actually do a whole month's groceries with, for example.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, the amount that I send, well, that I'm gonna start sending now, is 2,000 rand, and 2,000 rand for me is a whole month groceries, more or less. You know, I literally end up like 2,500 max. Then it's meat, everything, just for me. Um, but 2,000 rand for her is not a lot. So I feel bad about it because I want to send more, but I mean, I'm sending what I can. So yeah, people don't think about that. They don't think about the currency exchange. They don't think about the life that the foreigner is living. That they don't care about. I mean, I didn't ask Tiffany to go and stay in the States. I asked her to stay in South Africa. She chose to go and stay
Right,
there, and she still is. Um, so why must I now match to that?
right.
I mean, she knows it and I know it that it's almost impossible. And it's really hard, and she doesn't care. I mean, I gave her partial of each episode of my money, automatically signed over. No way I could have touched that. And still, that wasn't enough. So how much do you want now? You want all my money? Like when she wanted me to help her buy a car. She was just saying that because she wanted all my money, basically.
Mhm.
Didn't want me to have nothing. So, yeah. I mean, if the Americans must actually do some research or travel to South Africa, they will feel that when they spend money here, they feel like a millionaire. Let me
Oh
tell you that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, with the currency exchange and what they can buy for so little money, that's dollars wise, is amazing. That's why Tiffany, when she's here, she spends crazy. And when she goes back, she takes a whole big ass luggage full of shit. So she loves spending,
Yeah,
but it's also because she can buy so much with so little dollars.
right.
So And it makes things very hard, especially for my situation,
Yeah.
for the kids.
Yeah. I really wanted that to be said on your behalf too. Because, you know, the other thing I think of is like, you guys have children, and when so much is played out so publicly, you know, and the internet's forever, you know, these kids are going to see things, and that's so damaging to a child, you know.
Unfortunately.
I mean,
So it is.
kids who are going through a divorce already have a lot to handle, to deal with, to get through that. But to have it be public where their peers can see it, you know, they themselves see things they necessarily shouldn't see, hear things they shouldn't hear. You know, I always feel bad for that situation. And
That's the thing that I fight with Tiffany about every time. Because me and her would be having an argument, for example, and it's on a voice call, so I don't know what's around her, who's around her, what. And as the argument progresses, next month I hear Daniel. I say, was Daniel there all the time? Why is he sitting here next to me the whole time? I say, now how the do you allow that? Don't you think you cannot have these conversations in front of Daniel? You know?
Daniel.
He's not supposed to hear these type of things. He's not supposed to hear the arguments. He's not supposed to hear what's going on, this and that. And it's not once, it's not twice, maybe 5 times that I fight with her about the same thing.
Oh, no.
Because what example is that setting up?
Right.
You know, it's not setting a good example. And I mean, Tiffany went and showed the recent video that was posted, you know, of me. Why do you go and show Daniel that video? What did she gain now from showing me that video? That she wanting to hate me?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah, that's what she wanted.
I made it known from the first argument many years ago when we wanted to split. I made it known to her that no matter what, I will always be Daniel's father. I will always be there for him. And I will always love him, no matter what. I made that clear to her. And I don't know if she wants to get in between or doesn't approve that or whatever, but
maybe use him as a pawn. I don't know. Yeah, that's so ugly. You know, my work was in education, and it covers a lot of things. And there's things we have to watch for with kids. And, you know, even in like, I wrote curriculum, you know, even in that and in testing and things like that, emotional health was also considered like really highly. So that, I mean, that's really important to me, because you can see in school, you can see the effects of a child that's going through emotional trauma. It shows up in school. Teachers can see it. Principals can see it. It's part of things that educators are taught to look for, to provide help for. And, you know, I had to create tests that included testing their emotional wellness. So, you know, and just like the things you have to learn of what damage you do to children when they're young and how that will affect the rest of their lives. And I think it shouldn't just be something that's taught to educators. Every parent needs classes about these things, because, you know, we all make mistakes with our kids, but sometimes when we damage their emotions, when they're developing, we are putting them on a course that will affect the rest of their lives, how they cope with things, how they see things, who they turn out to be, how they deal with traumas that come later, how they deal with themselves as parents later. These are all things that happen at a very young age. In fact, they say like before the age of 3, by the age of 3, we have developed our coping skills for how we will, for the rest of our life, react to things. And like I said, all parents should be informed of this, so they don't do these harmful things out of selfish reasons to our children. You know, it's very sad.
No, and Carly is a good example of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tiffany is a good mother. She's raising the kids well. But Carly has these outbursts where she screams. And the way that Tiffany is reprimanding it, I don't agree with. And that's what I'm telling Tiffany, it's times like this where the kids need a father or a father figure or somebody there, a deeper voice
Yes.
to make them understand. Listen, no is no. Don't do that. But now to try and scream above her and
Is the
tell her
worst thing
no,
you can actually
that's
do.
yeah. The colleague is screaming so loud now. Like every time when I'm on the phone and she screams, I have to take the phone off my ear. It's very loud. And to raise your kids or to reprimand it over the phone, impossible.
Yeah.
You can forget about it. They don't take you serious. They don't do nothing. And Tiffany doesn't get that. I mean,
Mm-mm.
Daniel's getting into his teenage years and Tiffany complained he's getting out of hand. He's talking to her like he wants to and stuff. And I told her, I mean, it was your choice. I could have been there already, but you chose not to. So what do you want me to say to that?
Yeah.
There's nothing I can say about it when every single thing she's complaining about, she's doing everything alone. She doesn't have support. Um, she's alone, whatever. That was all her choice, literally. It was
Mm-hmm.
her choice. And who's gonna pull on the short end of the stick at the end of the day? Me and her when the kids grow up. Because the tree wasn't bent when it was small.
Right. Right.
That's the thing. And yeah, I mean, Polly's gonna hit 3 now in 6 months.
Mm.
6 months and she's gonna hit 3. So what then?
Yeah.
The last time I saw my daughter, she could barely walk.
Oh, wow.
That was almost a year ago. We're gonna clock now a year in January. Last time I saw her.
Is
And
there
that's
any
different.
way you could come here just to be near to the kids? Is that possible?
Only once the divorce is done. Then I can go to the counselor's office and ask them for a visa to go and fight for visitation rights.
Mm.
In the sense of either they're going to tell me that I can go there to visit, or they will tell Tiffany to bring the kids here. I'm not here to take the kids away from Tiffany. She's a great mother, but I just feel I need some kind of stable, set foundation on. Listen, Ronald, you will see your kid once a year, twice a year, or at least something. Whichever way. I mean, when the last time they were here with Daniel's school, you have no idea how I went out of my way to make sure he can get in school and he's on time and all those type of things. And his laptop didn't want to work. He couldn't log into class. And I had to be on Tiffany every day. Listen, have you contacted the principal? Have you gotten feedback? What's going on? How can we get him in class? He's missing it. Da, 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 da. And every day it was like, no, I haven't gotten feedback yet. I'll just send another email. So, well, why don't you call them? No, but because it's expensive. But I say, but when me and you are fighting and you can't contact me, you call me directly, then it's not an expensive call. How does that work? You're telling me now Daniel's school is not important enough for the expensive call? I mean, give me the number. I'll call from my phone. No, you can't call, you are not parent. I'll register on paper in the school. So that makes sense why she said that. And eventually, yeah, well, I got him on the iPad to be able to log in, but it was such a slip. And the, how can I say this? The attention, no? That's the word I'm looking for. Because I was like on it the whole time and she wasn't. What does that mean? What's the right word?
Inconsistency? No.
Well, her effort to resolve the problem wasn't really there. That made me a bit concerned, but yeah, needless to say, Luckily, it didn't get all back. So, yeah.
So you haven't been able to legally adopt Daniel yet.
I told Tiffany that I want to do it. And that's what it said. I'm still waiting for the papers to sign. I'm still waiting for everything. I mean, Carly's passport till today is wrong. She got her passport when she was 3 months old. Her passport is wrong with her name. They spelled her name wrong. Tiffany was supposed to fix it now numerous times. And she came to South Africa 3 times. So the first time the passport was wrong. The other 2 times she didn't even bother trying to fix it.
Oh.
I mean, that just shows me why the surname is not done. Where's your interest? Where's your attention? Where's your focus? Do you want to get these things done or don't you? I mean, why must I always be on these things? You know how many times I've asked Tiffany in the last 4 months? How many times I've asked for Carly's birth certificate? 9 times. 9 times. Every time a different excuse. So, but I'm going to leave it. I mean, I told her that if push comes to shove, and Carly asks, why is dad not there? I will have everything waiting.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do. So, because the children will have questions when they get older.
Yeah, obviously. Obviously not. Daniel is only being told what I'm doing wrong or what I'm saying wrong, And he doesn't know the full story. But with time, everything will play out the way it should. I mean, I'm not, it's probably wrong for me to say it, and I apologize, but I'm not like Daniel's dad that said to Tiffany, or that's going to say to Tiffany, it's okay, you keep the kids, I'm going to stand back. I don't want to be part of raising them. Hell no. Hell no.
Good.
Because that's what she told me he said. And I'm not like that. I'm not like the dads that don't want to be part of the kids' life or whatever. I don't care if they are living in the North Pole or wherever. I will be there and I will support my kids no matter what. I might be cut off now. My hands might be cut now. But in the future, I'll get hold of the kids one way or another.
Yeah.
The wheel turns, and whatever action Tiffany then does, I mean, they will hold it against her, basically. So